Get ready to drop the puck, take a free throw, and step up to the plate. It's time for the Metro East Sports Podcast on lineupmedia.fm.
Okay, before I get to guest number 2, Adam Tyler of Edwardsville Boys Golf and Baseball. I want to thank partners Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Are you breaking lamps over there, Adam Tyler? I want to thank partner Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, the number one place to purchase a vehicle in the Metro East. If you are in the market for a new or a pre-owned car, check out Cassens Inventory in person, where they've been for over 25 years, or online at Cassens.com. Cassens has earned the highest ratings for customer service. Their expert staff is committed to making your car buying experience enjoyable, including convenient on-site financing. I've purchased 4 vehicles there. My daughter drives an IU red Jeep Cherokee, and my wife and I are on our second Jeep Grand Cherokee. With over 80 years of experience in the Metro East, Cassens is the clear-cut leader for quality, service, and customer satisfaction. Go see Steve, Cliff, Holly, Greg, Bob, Mike, Tony, or Trent today. All right, guest number 2. Welcome to the show, Adam Tyler.
Thanks for having me.
It's honestly so nice to see you.
It was nice to beat you in fantasy football the other day.
You know what? No, I'm pretty sure I practically doubled your score 2 weeks ago, if I'm not.
I think I forgot about that week. Actually.
Yeah, that's the problem. But
you know, make a trade?
Here's what happened though. In the Edwardsville High School Coaches Fantasy Football League, what happened was I destroyed your team, completely dismantled you, and then you know what we did? We started smelling ourselves, and we had a terrible week of practice and came out flat against Carrie Bailey's team.
Really?
Yes.
That's a bad loss.
It is terrible.
I think I'm up there on the power rankings still.
Oh.
I think I'm pretty high. But that could change in a week.
Welcome to Fantasy Football Talk with Dave Life and Adam Tyler. I don't think anybody came here to hear us talk about fantasy football.
No, they did not.
They came here to hear us talk about your recent boys golf season.
Well, it was a good season. It was better than what I had expected.
Really?
It was. Looking at how young we were, and if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. We were most of the year 3 sophomores and three freshmen, and if you look at the next 2 kids that we had after that, it was another freshman, another sophomore. So out of our top 8, we had 4 freshmen, 4 sophomore, and I didn't have very many expectations coming into the year. Whatever happened. I knew we had some talented young kids, but to shoot some of the scores that we shot, we were in the 290s a couple times this year. We won the Mattoon Invitational. We won conference this year. We had a freshman that won regional, shooting 1 under. I don't know exactly where in the long list of great players in Edwardsville that ranks, but I would imagine a freshman shooting 1 under and winning the regionals got to be one of the best rounds of freshmen ever shot at.
Talking about Riley Lewis, right?
Well, we're talking about her brother, Mason. I would love to
have
Riley.
Sorry, Mason. Excuse me.
No, but
Mason Lewis. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Mason, really an historic round for your program. But what I thought was interesting was all these great young players, but it didn't feel like every single week it was the same kid that was standing out. I feel like you have quite a few kids who potentially could be your number 1.
Yeah, we have 3 for sure. You look at Mason Lewis, Carter Crow, and Ryan Surrey. Those are kind of the 3 that we had at any given moment. They were probably going to be our low man. But then we actually got a couple good rounds out of Bennett Babington this year, and this will make a lot of people want to pull their hair out. But Joe Shiroto, he's a kid that's been playing golf for maybe 15 months. And he had a round of 73 and a round of 74 this year. I mean, the kid hits a golf ball further than we had seniors that would say, "So where are you going to go to school next year when you graduate?" And he goes, "I'm a freshman." I mean,
really?
Yeah, he could hit a golf ball 305, 310 yards in the air as a freshman.
How is he able to do this? I mean, is it just natural athleticism.
He's a good sized kid, but his dad's Marty Sirotto down at Solid Impact Golf, and he's got some good teaching down there for sure. But he's a good sized kid, athletic kid. I think he throws a baseball at 85, 86 miles an hour. So
is he going to play baseball this year?
he is going to play baseball. I think he was Coach Sabatino's one of his best friends.
Okay, so he's kind of like you then.
Yes, kind of like me my freshman year at college.
Well, I'm just saying you played baseball and you
did.
played golf.
I did.
Okay, at East Alton Wood River High School.
And played basketball as well.
You played basketball.
I did play basketball.
Didn't know that.
Yes, I was.
Oh, yeah, I did, because you played for Parmentier.
Coach Parmentier. Yes, I did. So I was probably – golf was probably my worst sport in high school, which is probably saying something because I wasn't that great of a basketball player either. But baseball I was okay at. And so I played college baseball, and then after I got done with baseball, I did not want to have anything to do with baseball anymore and kind of start coaching golf under Coach Schickadance here at Edwardsville. Where
did you play college baseball?
So I played 2 years at Lewis and Clark under Randy Martz. I don't know if you've had him on the podcast.
I have not had him on here, but I've heard a lot about him. Yeah,
he'd be a good one.
Help me get him.
I will. He'd be a really good one. And then then I went to Indiana State and played 2 years.
Great.
And then I played 1 year with the Rascals, and the writing was on the wall. I wasn't going to go any further. I just kind of just a ride. Once I got done with high school, they said, "Hey, we'll give you a scholarship to go to Lewis and Clark," and I was like, "Okay, I'll go." And then after I had a really good second year. Everything went right. I wasn't that great, but everything went right. I had a good ERA and got a lot of people out.
Okay, so you were a pitcher.
I was. And then I got offered a scholarship to Indiana State. And so I said, all right, I'll go there now.
And how was your career there?
I was a reliever. I wasn't great. I wasn't terrible. I could get some people out. I didn't throw very hard. But I enjoyed it. In fact, I probably enjoyed playing at Indiana State with the guys and the team the best. I enjoyed playing for Randy the best. He was probably my favorite baseball coach. But
let's talk about him for a second. What made him a great coach?
Some people would probably I loved him. I don't know that everybody did, because he was a big league type coach where he said, "Hey, this is what you need to do to get better. Here you go. If you're going to do it or you're not going to do it." And I really enjoyed that, and I like that, having that independence whenever you were playing and not being micromanaged all the time, and having a real strict and structured really program. And I really enjoyed that and liked that. And that was as close as I was going to get to a big league program, was being at Lewis and Clark. But
and what's your role in the Edwardsville baseball program? I know you're assistant coach, but I don't know what you do.
It's minimal. I help out with the JV. So and it's kind of on a year to year. I didn't really help out last year with COVID and everything going on. And next year, I've talked to Tim, and I may help out a little bit next year, but it'll be something we talk about a little bit more. I'm going back to school right now also to finish up a degree. So that's eating up a little bit of time.
Of course it is. That's a huge time commitment.
It is.
Coaching golf, what are the keys to being a successful high school golf coach?
I coached under Dean Schickadance for about, it would have been about 7 years I did. And so I really learned a lot from him. I learned a lot with, get out of their way. Let the kids play and get out of their way. I think a lot of coaches, especially in high school, overcoach. I have been guilty of doing that. I've been guilty of doing that a number of times. In fact, I probably remember my coaching mistakes or any mistake I make more than anything that I do well. I think if I do something well, or if I see other coaches do something well, you don't really notice it. It's kind of like a good umpire. You don't really notice them if they do their job. But when you do something wrong or bad, it really stands out, and it's stuff that I really do remember. I can remember like it was yesterday, a regional at O'Fallon 3 years ago, where I talked to a kid probably too much. I should have just let the kid play, and he would have done better. Like, I feel like I've gotten in kids' way more times, then I'm helping them out. So
I think we've all been guilty of that. I think tennis and golf coaching is very similar. I want to talk to you more about this season and also the future of this boys golf program right now, which I think is really in a special spot. But first, I want to talk about Andy Callaway of Callaway Home Loans. Why? Because he saves me money every month. And he's going to save my family thousands in the long run. How? He refinanced my existing mortgage, and he can do the exact same for you. Rates are super low, and you need to take advantage of an easy, fast, and affordable way to refinance. They do conventional FHA and VA loans. And ask for the MESP special. If you refinance with Andy, he will donate $100 to the Metro East High School or junior high team or general athletic fund of your choice. Refinance with Andy, and he'll give $100 to Edwardsville High School boys golf. He'll give $100 to Granite City basketball. He'll give $100 to Jerseyville football. Whatever your heart desires. Call Andy today at 618-830-3332. Save money and support your favorite team in the Metro East. Okay, back to Adam Tyler. Let's talk about this team and some of the real highlights you had this year. And I think one of the more impressive moments was your comeback victory in the Southwestern Conference in the rain at Belk Park. I can hear Bill Murray, Cinderella stories, pouring rain, coming back. Was that the number one moment for your team, or was it you tell me?
I think at that point in time we were playing. That was the best we've been playing all year. We were pretty hot at that point. We had just won the Mattoon Invitational. We had just gotten third at Pekin, beat Lockport, who was at state, and then we ended up finishing off that. It was about a 3-week span with conference. So, yeah, we finished it off at Stone Wolf on day 2. Again, day 1, we didn't play bad day 1. I mean, we shot 305 at Belk Park, which is fantastic. O'Fallon just had a player, Caden Cannon, who shot 66 day 1. If you have a kid shooting 66, then that's going to be pretty hard too.
And then he shot 79 the next day, and I read his comments in the paper, and honestly, I felt so badly for the kid. The kid said, "It's my fault we didn't win the conference championship," and I just thought, man, you poor kid. Don't think that.
Yeah,
you know?
It's definitely not, because you could make the argument that he was the reason why they were
there
obviously
there to begin with.
Yeah,
but I respected him for making the comments, but I also just felt terrible for him. You know what I mean?
For sure. And it really is a team sport. I always laugh whenever I hear people talk about golf saying it's an individual sport, because we have had players in the past where the rest of our team feeds off of that one player. Like, I mean, I don't know, tennis, you're out there and you have one person playing against one other person, but you get something rolling with one kid on your team and the rest of the players just feed off of that. So, it's a team sport. It really is. It's not one kid, and it never will be.
Well, it may not be a team sport on the PGA Tour unless it's the Ryder Cup, but in high school golf and college golf, it is a team sport.
For sure.
And I think it's more fun.
For sure. I think that I just kind of retweeted something out that Rory McIlroy was crying after the Ryder Cup because of
he should have been
losing it for the team. And it's different because you do, like kind of what Caden said, you do feel like you're losing it or winning it for the rest of your team, and it's not. You may have one person that feels that way, but it's definitely not a loss or a win because of one person. It's, you could go to every single person, including, take it from me, the coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple of tournaments that I go back on and say, I think I lost it for the team. Or I may have lost it for the team. You could make the argument that first tournament that we played at Belk Park, that, I did some things that I wish I could go back and redo. But, that day
hindsight's 20/20.
It is. And I think that, hopefully you just learn from it and move on from it.
Well, you're still a young coach too.
Yes.
And you're going to make more mistakes.
I like to think I'm young.
Yeah, well,
but I'm not.
by far the youngest guy in this room. But, you are still in coaching years, at least, very young. And you'll still make mistakes when you're old, like I do.
Sure.
But I think you make more of them when you're younger.
Yeah.
I think it takes you longer
sure.
to realize them when you're younger, too.
Yeah.
When you're older, like, you usually question it probably maybe even too soon. So what else do you do besides get out of their way to help these kids be awesome?
I try to get as much information from as many people as possible. I was not a golfer in college. I was not, that good of a golfer in high school. So I try to gain as much information as possible from anybody. We have great parents, and we have parents who were, very accomplished golfers in their own right. I mean, you have 2 Division I parents on our team, Mike Surrey, who went to Northern Illinois, and Matt Lewis, who's arguably one of the best players around, that played at SMU. So, I feed off a lot of things that they say. Previous coaches, I think of a lot of things they have said in the past, and what I do is really try to put as much pressure on them in practice. We will qualify. We have a number of qualifiers. I make kids qualify that have, maybe our number 1 or number 2 golfer. I've read some things where Mike Small does that at U of I, where he has his kids qualify every single tournament every time. And, I do want to put as much pressure on the kids as possible. I talk to some of our players who have gone to college and come back and say, hey, why are you a much better golfer today than you were previously? So I really try to check my ego as much as possible and say I really don't know a whole lot, and I'm ready to learn and grow as much as I can as far as coaching is concerned. But
how much are you helping players adjust their swings?
I try not to do that a whole lot. We've had some kids go to some phenomenal teachers over the years. I got buddies of mine that that kids will go down to Phil Mickelson's short game teacher and spend the money to go down there. And my buddy will say, "So what do you tell him when he comes back?" And I say, tell me what you learned.
Exactly.
Like, I would love to know what you learned. Or if they're getting lessons somewhere, I say, what are you working on? And then I will say, you're not doing that, or you are doing that, one or the other. But I don't like to be in one ear and have a swing coach in the other ear. And in all honesty, you're usually with somebody you trust, and I'm not getting in between that. So when it comes to a lot of swings, and it's what are you working on? What are you working with? And I'll tell you if you're doing it or not. I'll be your little camera or whatever and tell you if you're doing that or not. But
speaking of little camera, do you have Coach's Eye, the app?
Did
I tell you about that?
This once, yes. And I think that I have not gotten it yet, but I need to.
If you are in a sport where technique matters and you want to film kids swing, Coach's Eye is about the best app out there. I'm not sponsored by it. I'm giving them all this free publicity right now, and I should.
No, I need to.
It is phenomenal. What about course management? Is that a big part of your job?
It is. I'm starting to get into the analytics a little bit more, and it's interesting how the analytics play out. Now it's obviously on tour a little bit more than it is in high school golf, but I try to simplify the course management as much as possible. Like I want to make the game as easy as possible for them when they're out there on the course. Hit it to the big parts of the fairway. Hit it to the big parts of the green. Don't worry so much about hitting the ball in a 5-foot window just to make sure to keep it below the hole. Like just put the ball on the green and go putt. I think that you can get – that can be a slippery slope as well with course management. And, when you're the higher up you get, I think if you're in college or you're playing on mini tours or you're playing on the PGA Tour, course management could be all the difference in the world between 1 or 2 shots, which could be the difference between first place and 15th place. In high school, I think it's still simplify the game as much as possible. Hit the ball in the fairway, hit the ball on the green. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. minimize those mistakes. And that's what we did for a decent amount of the year. And that's honestly, that's what the kids do very well, is they minimize their mistake. I would say is a big reason why we were successful with a young group of kids is they really minimized their mistakes quite a bit. They limited the triple bogeys they had. They turned a bad hole was a bogey for them and not a double or triple.
Well, every year I give a pep talk to at least the JV golf program, if not the varsity. If I ever see them standing out in the parking lot, I walk up like I'm some hot shot golf coach, and I always say the same thing. Guys, it's one stroke at a time. It's one stroke at a time.
That's right.
Focus on the stroke. Play the course. Do not make the big number. Take what the course gives you and don't make the big number. One stroke at a time. And then I walk away and the kids are like, what in the world? But it's like, if you listen to the best golfers in the world, you know, you talked about so-and-so going down to a famous golf school. Those golf pros and that other golf pro on the corner down at whatever golf center in Wood River or wherever, Collinsville, they're saying the same things.
Yes.
It's just, are you willing to listen?
And honestly, they're all cliches, but there's a reason why they're cliches, and they actually do work. I mean, when you sit there and say you're not playing against other teams, you really are playing against the course. My kids will roll their eyes and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, okay, here we go again." Yeah. It's like, but that's really what, if you focus on what you can control and not worry about what you can't control, it's so huge in golf.
It's huge in everything, but I think the mental game of golf is so unique. You have minutes between strokes. You have to make every single play. And I think managing that time, the visualization, the breathing, all of it, your attitude, you know, your mindset, the mental toughness associated with golf to me is number one.
And yeah, and that comes back to just control what you can control and know you're going to make mistakes. I mean, there's nobody out there that's shooting a perfect round. A perfect round, you're shooting what?
Wait, you've played 59? With me, right? You know it's possible.
We were Southwestern Conference Scramble champs at like
I got
9 years ago.
I got the picture in my room.
I know, it's depressing.
So I played, for our listeners, we played in the golf scramble for the Southwestern Conference, myself, Coach Tyler, and Coach Chickadance. And I think we played probably 0 of my shots all day. And there were a couple times when I absolutely belted a ball, in my opinion, by my standards, thinking I'm so proud of myself, and you guys would both just come up and just 20 yards past me every time. It was fun and depressing at the same time.
It's a team effort, and you can't bomb it past somebody unless they have one out there for you to bomb.
We won't get into what I brought to the team that day, but it was not my golfing talents. But well, I'll tell you what, you know, before you get out of here, I want some kind of comment on your vision for this team moving forward, because, you know, if somebody says, how good can this team be? You know, that's a terrible question, but like when you think about this team moving forward, where's your focus?
So this is going to be kind of one of those other eye rollers that, you know, I've told Matt Camp and a number of people talking to the paper when they talk about expectations. I don't know. I'm all ears. You're a future Hall of Fame coach as well, but I try not to put expectations on it. I really don't. I try to just say, hey, take it one day at a time, and let's try to get better every single day, and whatever happens. So, you know, I try to really temper any expectations kids have. I know that there are bad feelings we had this year, not moving on to state. That's a bad taste in our mouth. You know, I want them to remember what that felt like this year, and let's work hard to try to prevent that from happening in the future. But for the most part, it's hard to just say, well, you know, I expect this to be a state team or a state championship team or anything like that. I don't want to put any expectations. I really want them to go out and play and have fun and get better. And again, it's a lot of cliches, but it's really true. That's really what I want. And, you know, we're not going to be great all the time. We're going to have our ups and downs just like we did this year. But, you know, you also kind of have to get lucky. You have to get a couple lucky bounces. You have to have a couple things go your way to go to state. I was fortunate enough to coach 2 teams that went to state when I first started coaching. And, we had some things go our way. We had some luck that went our way. We had some kids playing really well at the right time. And there's a lot of that goes into it. And, that's why I just try not to – I want as little pressure as possible to be on the kids when they're playing. Now, in practice, off-season, which golf, there's not too much of an off-season, put as much pressure on them as possible. But when they're out there playing and thinking about in a sectional or in a regional – just go have fun.
How much of their off-season training will you be a part of?
I don't do a whole lot with them. We can set up off-season, like being indoor and things like that. But so many kids get so many swing lessons at other places, especially varsity kids. They get lessons at places. They go play all over the country. Some of these kids do. They play all over the Midwest. That if it, with me, I'll talk to parents about a schedule. I'll say, I think your kid should be playing in the Illinois State Junior Am. I think your kid should be playing in these AJGA events or IJGA events. But for the most part, it's a lot of that. And then we'll have summer practices where we kind of pick up in June and July. We have a lot of kids that play a lot of multiple sports, but we'll pick up summer practices.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to following you. Give me one of these before you get out of here. Adam Tyler, fantasy football. He's a walkover for me, but he's doing a great job leading the Tigers.
I don't have a ring.
You do not. I got a couple fantasy football. Adam Tyler, Edwardsville High School, boys golf. Thanks so much.